Hello everyone, welcome back for some more Great Ace Attorney. I think we're finishing the case here. I hope. Because if we do one more investigation, this is like, it feels like it's wrapping up. I feel like we were at the point where we've used up almost all our evidence. We just have to finally bring everything together by bringing Miss Olive Green into the equation. Joyful, jubilant jumping jacks! Oh, Mr. Natsume, I'm so pleased for you. Locum student Mr. Naruto Esquire, and non-locum judicial assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquiress. Now, finally, at long last, there can be proof that I'm innocent, and proof that my tea is innocent. Well, you really care about your tea. Ah, good morning, my dear fellows. Hi there. Hairlock Sholmes! May you drink my tepid tea and fall forever silent. I thought the tea was innocent. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you came. How wonderful. Please, save your derision. I know what you're all thinking. Good morning, he says, when it's very nearly time for luncheon. Your scorn is written clearly across your faces. Nobody said or thought anything of the sort. Of course. The truth is, I was determined that today would be the day. As sleep seduced me last night, however. Or I thought, tomorrow, for once, I shall not oversleep. I'll rise early and be present in court to support my companions. Such spirited determination has a beauty all of its own, does it not? Oh, yeah, no. No, saying I wanted to get up early doesn't count. And then I began to muse on the subject. Why do people oversleep, I queried. Why, time after time, do they make the same foolish blunder? And the answer came to me at once. It's so delightfully simple. People oversleep because they sleep. What? Well, is that not an astute insight into the matter? Oh, yes. Upon which realization, I attempted an experiment. I didn't sleep a wink all night. And the results? By first light, I was exhausted. I began to be assailed by fits of drowsiness. Shocking. And so the conclusion of last night's experiment is this. A good night's sleep is quite simply essential. That's true. Go to sleep on time. To everyone watching my videos. Don't stay up too late. Hey, is it like 11 p.m. and you're watching this video? I'm gonna be honest. Turn it off. Turn it off. Go to your bed, shut your eyes, and think of the deepest, darkest blackness, like imagine you're peering into the abyss, like that's what you do, and you'll fall asleep, and you'll feel better. Yes, I think most of us probably knew that already. What others presuppose, I prove by experimentation. That, my dear fellow, is the scientific method. Ah, yes, and one more thing. Do you remember this? Oh, the purple bottle. Yes, of course, it's the poison that Miss Green was about to drink at the hospital yesterday. Oh, you didn't manage to... It was a laborious task, as the bottle was near empty, but such inconveniences do not hinder Sholmes. I managed to confirm that it contained strychnine. So I was right. Perhaps, though of course such circumstantial evidence doesn't prove Miss Green's guilt. I shall leave the bottle in your care now, but licking the inside of the neck is not recommended. Speaking from experience, or... I'm gonna check who this is in a second here. So this is the poison we've been hearing so much about. Strychnine. There are a few remnants on the bottom of the bottle here, look. You mustn't be tempted to try it. Of course not. As long as we don't lose this trial. No, even if we lose the trial. No! We mustn't lose the trial in the first place, Mr. Naruhodo. Make your mind up, Sasato-san. It's kind of funny. Anyways, who's talking? Oh, hey. Gregson, how good of you to come. Forget it. Excuse me. Wait a minute, Inspector. Just need to grab his chips. Don't wish to make a nuisance of myself. From the look on your face, I'd say it's someone else who you think is making a nuisance of himself. My dear Inspector, please speak freely. Pretend that I'm not here. Believe me, if I could do that, life would be a whole lot simpler for me. Do you have the results, Inspector, of the investigation of Mr. Shamspeare's room? Not yet. Shouldn't be long now, though. Now I'm here to talk about something else. The dead convict, actually. Oh? Oh, you mean the man from this newspaper article we discovered yesterday in Mr. Shamspeare's room? Man by the name of, yes, Selden. I went through the archives at the yard and dug out the fellow's file. There's something in there that, well, it caught my eye. Something caught your eye? What, Inspector, what? I've copied out the relevant parts for you, so you can read it for yourselves. Thank you. Dang. Okay, he died of illness, you say? Let's learn about that. These documents. Yeah, let's actually maybe read them first. Alright, 18 accounts of burglary, 6 counts of suspected murder, died of natural causes while in prison, his final moments witnessed only by his cellmate. The estimated 1,000 pounds of loot he stole remains unrecovered. Manchester's Strangeways prison announced the death of convicted murderer and burglar Selden by natural causes. Been suffering a fever since the end of October. Lured by the shouts of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead before his capital punishment could be carried out. Okay, there's nothing really here that says much, I feel. Just the treasure mostly, but we just need proof of that. These documents include the details that were in the newspaper cutting we found in Mr. Shamspeare's room. I'll rearrange everything in the court records so we don't have duplicate information. Oh, that's nice. Why are you giving us a copy of this important file, though? Well, you're the ones who turned up the clue in the first place, aren't you? I'm making sure things get handled in the proper fashion. Oh, Scotland Yard's workings are so wonderful. Indeed, my dear fellows, and the inspector here has a shining diamond in its crown. Shining diamond. In the rough, maybe. More like a crazy diamond, am I right? JoJo references. Last time we had a JoJo reference, guys, so who knows? Look, I just don't want to be beholden to a lawyer, that's all. Okay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court proceedings are about to resume. Make your way into the courtroom at once. Let's go. Well, I shall leave you then. I'll be listening with interest from the public gallery. Not nodding off at all. Certainly not. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Rather tired. Yep. I'm seeing Mr. Mustache in flood of tears personally. Oh, okay. Well, the best of luck to you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. Yes, Mr. Natsume? It's time, isn't it? Yes, this is it. Miss Olive Green and Mr. William Shamspeare. It's gonna be the final battle. I won't really have saved Saseki-san until I've exposed the whole truth of everything that's been going on. But it's all coming to a head now. You can do it, Rinosuke. You have to. I hope you guys are ready for the Miss Piggy voice, because I'm going to be doing that so much in this one, I bet. Alright.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again today. Before the recess, we heard a most startling accusation from the defense, namely that the victim of the case we heard only a few days ago is the true perpetrator of this incident.
reckless, rash, and prejudiced charge of wrongdoing in my opinion, my lord. However, the prosecution has tried to extend every courtesy to this amateur newcomer from dubious eastern shores. Thank you for that backhanded consideration.
A rather cold assessment from the honorable British prosecution, I must say. So, Lord Van Geeks, is the new witness present and ready to take the stand?
Ready and waiting in the witness's antechamber, my lord.
Very well. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in.
Oh, she do be painting, currently and presently. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court, please. William Shamspeare, my liege. For mine occupation, I can say only that I be a tragic victim, to be pitied. Currently unemployed, in other words. Oh, I'm Olive Green. I'm a fledgling artist, but no, not a fledgling, really. A hopeless failure who's too weak spirited to admit she has no talent, I suppose. Also currently unemployed, in other words. What a cottery.
Mr. Shakespeare?
My lord, I am thy humble servant.
I'm afraid that you are no longer merely the victim of this affair. The possibility has been raised that you are, in fact, the assailant, intent on taking the life of your fellow lodger. The part you have played in this whole business will be thoroughly scrutinized, I assure you.
I would for naught else, my lord.
But Miss Green?
Yes?
You are aware of the reason you have been summoned to this courtroom today, I presume?
Yes, the officer did explain. Oh, okay, that's pretty funny. He said it was poison. He said I poisoned this ridiculous buffoon. And, do you accept the charge, Miss Green? I don't know anything about any poisoning. And I don't know anything about this man. Come, lady, die to live. Verily I know not thy prickly, pea-pigmented personage.
Very well. Let us proceed with the matter at hand. That being to ascertain whether or not Miss Green has any involvement in this affair.
It's all very strange indeed. Why would you suspect me? I barely ever go to the East End anyway. Shifty. It so happens that I passed by that neighborhood 6 days ago, that's all. And on the night this man was poisoned, I was still in the hospital fighting for my damn life. Yes, having been unfortunately caught up in the incident on the street outside the Garrideb household. An incident that rendered you unconscious for some 3 days. I was struck in the middle of the back of my back by a knife, through no fault of my own, and now I'm under suspicion. What other irrelevant things might I be suspected of? It's all very disturbing.
Their energies may be better spent worrying about random knife attacks I feel, Miss Green.
At this point in time, all that appears to connect you with Mr. Shakespeare's lodgings is the Briar Road incident of 6 days ago. That's why. I would like you to testify formally now about exactly what happened. Oh no! Oh, the incident 6 days ago! You mean you want me to relive that awful accident? Unfortunately, yes. Please tell the court what happened that day. And of course, we will be interested to hear from you about your movements that day too, Mr. Shamspeare. Huh? But what happened 6 days ago has nothing to do with me being poisoned.
Let us proceed, then. Witness will present the formal testimony to the court. On the subject of the incident that took place on Briar Road the evening of the 17th of February.
All right, let's see. They're gonna do the. Is it gonna be back and forth or?
Oh, it was 6 days ago at about 5 p.m. I was walking along in the snow when I was suddenly stabbed in the back. Coincidentally, it just happened to be outside the house where the man in this case had their lodgings.
I was at the tavern on the eve of which thou speak'st, for I had bespoke my supper.
Oh, it was the first time I'd been in the area. A little matter to attend to, that's all. Anyway, I was admitted straight to the hospital, so I knew nothing about all this business.
Yes, the second incident inside a week at what I believe to be aptly described as the haunted lodgings. One can only presume this is the most unfortunate coincidence.
Meanwhile, you say you were not in your room, Mr. Shamspear. 'Twas the following... Oh, wait. No, right, because if it's 'twas, it's not a saying. 'Twas the following morn when I did awaken that I learned of the dire events. Mary, what a commotion did the officers of the law make on the floor above mine. And Saseki-san was arrested on suspicion of attempted murder. As suspected, there is nothing connecting these two witnesses but happenstance. It's true, it does seem as though they're unrelated at first glance, but I'm not so sure. There's something lurking in the shadows here, I feel certain of it. And this is my one and only chance to expose it.
Counsel, you may now cross-examine these two witnesses if you wish.
Yes, my lord, what if I just said no? What if I'm just like, nah, it's okay? Although we just lose the trial is what we do, but could you imagine? Alright, 6 days ago at about 5 p.m., walking along when I was suddenly stabbed in the back. Okay? I'm well acquainted with the case. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
It was awful. I still can't believe I was unconscious for so long. And I woke up to find that the case had been solved and the culprit arrested.
Yes, the incident has been resolved already. Perhaps it would help you to consider it a bad dream that ended with your awakening and should now be forgotten.
Yes, I suppose so. Thank you.
We do have that little meter there, so we'll have to see. But before you put it completely behind you, Miss Green, I need you to remember the details one last time. You must tell the court exactly what happened that day for us to arrive at the truth about this new case.
Oh, the trouble is, there's nothing to tell, really. I was just walking along the pavement.
Okay, so for not that one, but it's gonna be one of these. Okay, outside the house. What were you doing there that day, though?
What do you mean?
The art school you attend. What's it called?
Oh, yes, it's the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Originally made by a Chris Thorndike. Yes, he'll be is the most famous Chris Thorndike ever in years. No one else will take that name and ruin it. No, this school will be, everyone will know it.
According to Mr. Shomes, that's just in the vicinity of Brixton Road, which is some 10 stops away from the scene of the underground. Oh, on the underground. I believe you mentioned before that you also live on Brixton Road, isn't that right? So why then would you be walking along Briar Road in the middle of the east? Okay, I will say, this is kind of a not, I don't know, in my eyes, like the excuse of, I'm gonna be honest, I just wanted to go for a walk, is real, you know? Except she is, obviously, actually did have a reason to be here.
It's because, oh yes, of course. I thought it might make a nice picture.
The witness is a student of art. City-dwelling artists can't all paint grand urban vistas.
That's right. I happen to like the crumbling look of that part of town.
Perhaps quaint would have been a less grating term. The point is, she's definitely hiding something. Yes, it seems she's not going to be forthcoming with the truth. She's trying to hide why she was there that evening. Must be there's a reason for not wanting us to know. That's the key to this. And you, Mr. Shamspear, on the evening of the incident 6 days ago, would you tell the court what exactly you were doing there? "'Twould be my pleasure, sire." Yes, so you were at the tavern on the eve of which thou speakst, because you had supper, okay? A tavern, you say? Which one? "'Twas the Slug and Salad where I did tarry. 'Tis a jewel in the East End." And a little unexpected, I feel. What do you mean, Lord Van Zeeks? The Slug and Salad offers unusually fine dining. For the locality, at least. Not an establishment you'd expect to be patronized by a man with not even a crumb of bread in his room. It's true, the menu lists premium crusts of bread and glasses of water in different levels of cloudiness. Oh, that's considered good? I would have expected Grub's Grubbery in the local vicinity to be more appropriate for your means. Watery sloop and mushy peas. Or rather, soupy water and pea-like mush. All equally appetizing. I just wanted to try some water in a different pub for once. What's wrong with that? How different can water really be? I don't know. I think there's different flavors of water. I'll stick by that. But perhaps there's a more plausible explanation. A specific reason why you had to go to that particular establishment. Agreed. The fact that on that day of all days he dined at a place he wouldn't normally does stand out. Mr. Shamspeare's own actions on the day of the incident 6 days ago were slightly suspicious. I wonder if he has some evidence that can explain those actions. I mean, didn't we have... I don't think we didn't get his letter, did we? We even have the letters? We don't. I don't think so. I'm gonna say no for now. I wish we did, but sadly, I can't think of anything at the moment. If we find a clue that could explain why Mr. Shamsphere went there, we must present it to the court. Yeah, we don't have the clue yet.
That is all on this matter, Counselor. I've asked Miss Green to reiterate her direct statement.
It was the first time I'd been in the area. A little matter to attend to, that's all.
Okay, tell us about that. What little matter, Miss Green? Please elaborate.
It was nothing, really. It's not worth mentioning.
If you remember, you mentioned it to us yesterday at the hospital.
Woo!
It was related to the card you were holding. Miss Green, don't do it! What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back. From memory, I believe the card contained a note that read, "I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross."
Oh, what does that matter? It has nothing to do with... This has nothing to do with Duncan.
Excuse me. What do you have something to say, buddy? Mr. Shamsphere, do you have something to share with the court? To be or not to be, that is the question. Pray forgive me. The great bard's word springeth from within me with ne'er a thought. Don't tell me it's because you're possessed by Shakespeare's spirit, right? Yeah, let's be real. If it was Shakespeare's spirit, he'd grow a big pair of boobs. Am I right? You mean it doesn't work that way for other ghosts? Okay. Hearing Miss Green's words a moment ago seemed to make you think of something. Something of relevance, perhaps? Nay, sire, 'twas nothing at all. Presumably you know the name, though. Mr. Duncan Ross, I mean. After all, you were both lodgers in the same house. I would appear so, but sadly nay. Lodging be a lonely occupation, sire. My lodging fellows be rarely known to me. But you haven't heard of him, even though he passed away in the room just one floor above yours.
Miss Green?
My lord, have I done something wrong?
Recall that was mentioned before, containing the note. Do you have it upon your... Oh, here we go. Do you have it upon your person?
I do, yes, but I don't have it anymore. In fact, I don't need it anymore. In fact, I should throw it away, really.
Before you dispose of it, the court will take it as evidence, please.
There we go. Good. Of course, that's what links Mr. Shamsphere and Miss Green. We got it. The envelope has been ripped open rather carelessly, hasn't it? Miss Green strikes me as a type to open correspondence more neatly than that. What is it? The way the envelope is torn, I'm almost sure I've seen the exact same shape somewhere else. Oh, you don't mean... Are you thinking of this piece of evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Exactly, that's it. Try to match them up. Oh, they actually become a full thing? Yeah. They go together perfectly. This torn-off end of the envelope clearly belongs with the card. Oh, there we go. One's also there. Good. All right, cool. That means we have that link there. It's Duncan Ross.
Now, continue with your testimony, please, Miss Green.
We'll give the last one here.
Anyway, I was admitted straight to hospital, so I knew nothing about all this business.
Yes, you didn't regain consciousness until the day after the trial, did you? In the early hours.
Exactly, so how could I have had anything to do with it? And yet you still hold me in here to court like this, honestly.
At the time of the poisoning, the witness was unconscious in her hospital bed. Could there be a more airtight alibi, I ask you? What if the rat did it? The rat that's now dead. The big old rat.
And yet, in spite of that, you claim that he was the culprit?
Well,
But you certainly haven't produced any evidence to support your royal claim, have you? None at all.
There you have it. The good lady has yet to see evidence. My learned Nipponese friend. I'm working on it.
Counsel, I will point out here that the jury's next decision will be final.
We're really up against the wall here. No, we're not. We know exactly what to do now. Oh, Mr. Mr. Naruhodo, you pursued Mr. Shamsphere wonderfully there. Worked out well, hasn't it? We have a new clue at last. All right, now I need to pull off a really insightful objection somewhere. Well, as you've managed to expose this promising new angle, I wonder if you should perhaps try to develop that. Yes, of course, and yelling out objections isn't necessarily the best way to do that, I suppose. Yeah, so we ought to go, it was the middle one, right? It was this, or was it this one? I think it was this one, right? I think so. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, no. It was, no, we wanted to do it to Shamsphere to be like the other one there. Yeah, no, Shamsphere was the third one.
Hold it!
Okay. Fast. I love this. Hold the B button to skip the dialogue. It's the best. Oh, wow. You can hear him really going down like that. Now we have evidence. Mr. Shamsphere. Yes, sire? On the day in question, is it not the case that you visited the Slug and Salad, a place you don't normally... Is it not the case that you visited the Slug and Salad, a place you don't normally patronize, for a very particular reason? I don't know what you're talking about. Pray, if thou hast some purpose, speakest. Very well. Present the court with evidence. Evidence that explains why you had to be at the Slug and Salad that day. Namely, I think it's this one, right? Or is it? Do I have to show the little piece to be like? Maybe it could also work for maybe both. Let's do the little piece because this one was in his room, right?
Take that!
There we go. I believe This torn-off piece of envelope reveals the answer, because it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the card that was submitted into evidence earlier.
Good Lord! Miss Green's card, you mean?
That's right, my lord. It reads, I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. Mr. Shamspear, your actions on the afternoon of Miss Green's stabbing are exactly as described in this note. Personally, I find it hard to believe that's a coincidence. Don't you, Mr. Shamspear? Well...
Excuse me, can I say something?
Yes, Miss Green?
That card was delivered to me. It doesn't have anything to do with this odd man, does it?
Well, you think so, yes, but it's hard to believe it's merely...
My lord, may I?
May you what, Miss Green?
I'd like to make something very clear about that card.
Very well, then. You may amend your testimony to include details about the peculiar note.
Okay.
The note was delivered to me at my address. It has nothing to do with the odd man next to me here.
It's in his room. It's literally there in his room. What are you talking about? But first off, let's hold it. I think you said you received it the day before the incident, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
There appears to be no indication of the sender's name or address on the envelope.
It was in my letterbox, and that's all I know, I'm afraid. I have no idea who sent it.
I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Who is this Duncan Ross, please?
A friend of mine. He attended the same art school as I do. He passed away in a tragic accident a month ago now, though. I wasn't sure what to make of that note, to be honest, but in the end I decided to go.
So you found out what the information was?
Oh, of course I didn't. You're not thinking straight.
Whilst on her way there, she was stabbed in the back. As my learned friend hopefully remembers. Oh, yes, of course. She never made it to the meeting. Okay, so yeah, this is the same one. So yeah, it's pretty clear. We just gotta basically hit her up with the envelope there.
Hold it!
That's the wrong button. We're gonna do it all again. Great. All right. It's either, I'll say this, L and R. I always get them mixed up. And I think it's just because visually on like the HUD, the L and R are, I mean, I guess you have the little curve there, but why am I yawning so much? Jeez. They're not the easiest to quickly parse, I feel. Anyways, no, what are you talking about? The day before the incident, exactly 1 week ago now, this note was delivered to your address, and upon carrying out the instructions in the note, you found yourself in hospital.
Yes, I did. It's terrible. Everything that's happened to me.
Yes, it's terrible. If it's all true, that is.
What do you mean?
Miss Green, have a look at this, please. It's the torn-off end of an envelope.
Oh. Is it?
And it so happens that it fits together perfectly with the envelope of the note you received.
Where did you find that?
In Mr. Shamspear's room. In my room? Mr. Shamspear, do you perhaps remember this note from somewhere? Well, your actions that afternoon follow the instructions in the note to the letter. Come to the Slug and Salad Bar on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. That's exactly where you went. And let me ask you again, Mr. Shamspear. You already knew about this note, didn't you? And you, Miss Green.
What did I do?
As this torn off into the envelope proves, the note was originally in Mr. Shamspear's room. So how is it that it came to be in your possession?
I don't have the first idea. I'm just a fledgling artist after all.
There's only one explanation. You broke into Mr. Shamspear's room and stole it.
Strokey. Paint.
Okay, now it's just the looping animations. I like the beginning part there. You did what? Sorry, thou hast what? You broke. I mean, thou were in my room. What? What on earth do you want with me?
It would seem that both witnesses need to testify again and not tell fibs this time, please.
Miss Green,
Yes?
whilst you have the court's sympathy, I'm sure, for the suffering you have endured in recent events, anyone found to be giving false testimony in a court of law will be duly punished.
Is it like a 3-strike system or...
It's closer to 5 at this point, but please bear that in mind.
Yes. I know.
Very well then, witnesses. You will give formal testimony again now. On the subject of this curious anomaly regarding the note Miss Green claims to have received.
I just practiced for my Gordolf voice. I'll be doing that a lot more soon, I'm sure, so gotta get back into the Gordolf spirit. I do remember now, 'twas a week ago, peradventure, that note was delivered unto me. On the day writ therein I did tarry a long hour at the Slug and Salad, yet nobody came. Thereafter, on the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished.
I don't know what you mean. I think I snuck in this man's room, do I? Why would I do that? I can point out the villain here. As for that torn-off piece of envelope, I don't know anything about it.
Well, they give us nothing to work off of. Great.
You now claim to have received this letter, do you, Mr. Shamspear?
Faith, 'tis so, my lord, and I would swear to have set it upon the table in my humble lodgings. Yet 'tis clear to me now that since I returned from the tavern that night, I have not laid eyes upon it.
Well, that being the case, young lady, it would appear that your testimony was...
A lie? Is that what you think? How unfair of you to think I'm the one lying.
I beg your pardon?
I'm just a fledgling artist, as I said it. Fledgling artists don't lie. I'm just a little woman on her birthday. Yeah, it's my birthday. And it was delivered to me at my address. Besides, we all know who the lawyer around here is.
If that's true, Miss Green, how do you explain the facts? This part of the envelope was, without question, found in Mr.
I don't see why I should have to explain.
Because you're in court, Miss Green. Sorry?
I'm a fledgling artist. My job here is just to say what happened, that's all. It's your job to give the explanations and the proofs, you, the fledgling lawyer.
The fledgling will do his best, I guess. Evidently, my learned friend's cross-examination is our only hope of learning the truth.
Well, counsel?
I'm ready, my lord.
Very well, then. The defense will now proceed with the cross-examination of the witnesses.
Miss Green clearly did break into Mr. Shamspeare's room. There can be no question of that. And that's how she acquired the note. Yes, two facts that are starting to lead me to a possible explanation for all this. And it's not a pretty one. Yeah. She brought the strychnine herself, maybe? But why, man? Okay, 'twas a week ago, peradventure, the note was delivered unto me.
Hold it!
By who? And can you shed any light on the contents of the note at all? Nay, sire, 'tis strange to me as strange to me as a foreign tongue. Even with knowledge of literature as great as mine own, verily 'tis impenetrable. But Mr. Duncan Ross had lodgings in the same house as you. In effect, he was your neighbor, so surely you knew him, didn't you? Alack, if the choices be twixt I knew him, and I knew him not, then 'tis with foreboding that I be forced to declare that we were by some small measure acquainted. Despite your claims, though, you followed the note's instructions and went to the Slug and Salad. Presumably that was nothing to do with your knowledge of literature? Marry, not will have the better of me, sire, save for the lure of curiosity. So 'tis true, I was compelled by mine own eager heart to betake myself to the tavern. Yet in the end, my curiosity was not satiated. Okay. On the day writ therein, I did tarry a long hour at the Slug and Salad, yet nobody came.
Hold it!
Tell me more. So even after waiting an hour, nobody appeared. Yeah, could you imagine going to somewhere that someone told you to meet up with them and waiting an hour, 2 hours, and nobody ever shows up? And like you go back on the dating app where you originally tried to, get this information done, and when you're on there, you get a thing saying that you reported your account saying you're a scam artist, even though you're not, and just trying to get a date. Can you imagine that? Anyways, so even after an hour waiting, nobody appeared? Well, yes, sire, 'tis as thou sayest. Really? You paused for a moment before you answered. In truth, when thou asked me whether nobody appeared, I did suddenly recall.
Really? Do you mean to tell the court that somebody did appear after all?
I was not alone that night at the Slug and Salad, my lord, no. 'Tis returning to me now. I did treat my lips to an almost clear water, and mine innards to a premium crust of bread. And all around me danced a great many companions. What do you mean? Flies, sire. Flies. Oh, is bro call himself Lord of the Flies? Okay.
Good lord.
In the name... Oh yeah, there we go, Beelzebub. Hey, look, Lord of the Flies. In the name of Beelzebub, what were they? Fairies, perchance, from a midsummer night's dream, come to taunt me. I'm teaching that right now. I think they were just flies, man. I can't help thinking the flies ought to choose something more wholesome to buzz around. Is that wrong of me? Okay. On the evening I shared the company of the Japanese fellow, I did see the note had vanished. When exactly did you notice it had gone missing? Such idle thoughts ne'er occupy my mind. I am busied with greater ideas. In other words, you didn't notice. Several days passed between your outing to the tavern and Mr. Natsume's visit to your room.
Yes, it would appear that the note disappeared sometime in the interval.
Such idle thoughts ne'er occupy my mind. I am busied with greater ideas.
But yet during that time, Miss Green was comatose in the hospital, was she not? Clearly then, she could not have been stealing things from Mr. Shamspeare's room.
Oh, yes, of course. It's some sort of misunderstanding, isn't it, Mr. Prosecutor, sir?
Even Benzeeks just wants the truth now. You have so far failed to give a satisfactory explanation as to how you came by the note. I am not here to advocate for your defense, madam. I won't tolerate inconsistencies in your story. Yeah, bro's just on the path of truth now. You would do well to remember that.
Oh, dearie me.
What's Lord Van Zeek's getting at? Bro just wants the truth at this point.
I don't know what you mean. You think I snuck in this man's room, do you? Why would I?
So this feels like the important one there. It seems that this note was actually delivered to Mr. Shamspear about 1 week ago.
Oh, does it?
But for some reason, it ended up in your possession. I can't think of any way that could have happened except for you breaking into Mr. Shamspear's lodgings.
Objection!
But for what reason would the witness have done that? I won't deny that Miss Green's possession of the note would appear to defy logic. However, until and unless her involvement in the case can be proven in some way, any further pursuit of this note is meaningless. Miss Green could only have come in to be in possession of the note by stealing it from Mr. Shamspear's room, and yet there's no obvious reason she would have done such a thing. What if there was some other reason she broke into his lodgings, though? Yes, we should pursue that idea, Mr. Naruhodo. We're close now, I can feel it. We're close to a breakthrough. That is clearly the one, yeah. But we probably need one more thing, which we might get from this one.
I can point out the villain here, and as for the torn off piece of envelope, I didn't know anything about it.
So you don't want to tell the court the truth about the letter, is that it?
I'm a fledgling artist, remember? Artists are nearly always introverted characters.
Not always. Not always. Introverted? Fie! This fledgling doth readily cast aspersions about my nature. Yet I am an angel, a seraph. Birds do harmonize with my song. The wind doth frolic on my wing. Oh pity! Wherefore dost thou accuse one so pure of heart, ample woman? I like this little dance. It's a good one. Look at him go. Look at him go.
Pure of heart? I don't think so. Even a fledgling like me can see you're a goddamn failure.
It's like, oh man. Tragedy! Thou shalt not know the true heart of an artist until thine instruction hereafter by death. Oh,
His dances are really funny.
oh the days, oh the years, alas, to enlighten thee, thou must wait so long, and in vain. I can't handle these dances, they're so funny. Mr. Naruhodo, inject with some clever remark. This is your chance to shine. I'm no Shakespearean actor, Miss Sasato. No, as far as I can tell, I don't think it's going to resolve this argument. Is evidence, yes. It's clear that Miss Green did in fact break into Mr. Shamspear's room, isn't it? That's when she found this letter. Yeah, two more or less forgotten conclusions that lead me to one terrifying conclusion. Terrifying? I'm afraid to say that the outcome of this cross-examination may well change how we look at this case completely. Okay, so I think it's this one here, right? Why would I? My thought is you're going in there to get your picture back, right? Because this your man. At least I think so. Let's see. That? Or you're trying to get revenge to kill Mr. Garadab. That's also a possibility. Right?
Objection!
Nope. That last statement was contradictory in a number of ways. No, it's not. Even if the music doesn't stop, you can tell because your life bar stays up. Okay, so why would I? Okay, no, it might be this one. It's for the torn off piece of envelope. I know nothing about it. Fits into the thing. Is this the one?
Objection.
No. Okay. No. Not this. Let's see. Knows nothing about it. Put out the villain. As for the torn off piece of envelope, I don't know anything about it. Okay, the envelope's gone from this one because we picked it up already. Okay. And prints. That's there. Strychnine, selecting poison. Is it just this one again?
Objection.
No. Okay. Trying to figure out which it ties to then. Let's see. We had that one. Why would I? Is it this?
Objection.
Oh, that would make sense. Yesterday at the hospital, I saw you with this bottle. And though the contents spilt during the course of our meeting, a small quantity remained. According to the defense's independent analysis, Mr. Sholmes' chemistry set, the liquid that was still in the bottle was identified as strychnine. What? Strychnine? The very same poison that afflicted Mr. Shakespeare, sorry. Miss Green, you broke into this man's lodgings for one reason, and one reason alone. To cover the end of the pipe that feeds the gas lamp in Mr. Shakespeare's room with poison. Just looks at her.
Could this be?
You broke into my room to... It may seem incredible to the court, but from the remaining clues, there is only one logical conclusion we can reach. The person who attempted to take Mr. Shakespeare's life with poison was you, Miss Olive Green.
Oh dear, oh dear, me!
She's gonna come up covered in paint.
Order! Counsel, are you seriously suggesting this woman put poison on the end of the gas pipe with intent to kill?
Yes, my lord. There's no other way to explain the facts.
But if Miss Green did indeed set this odious trap 6 days ago, and the victim had put his mouth to the pipe that very evening as expected, that attempted murder would have happened 6 days ago, surely.
Well... That's a good point. Perhaps not, my lord. Oh yeah, he's on the side of... I just want to get to the truth, yeah.
I beg your pardon?
There was a significant police presence in the area on that evening on account of the incident on Briar Road. Local residents were being interviewed throughout the night as part of the ongoing inquiry. Circumspect, that's the word. A circumspect criminal would likely have not chosen to carry out any wrongdoing at the time. Lord Van Zeeks? And of course, the following morning, there was more activity at Mr. Shakespeare's address. More activity? Oh, yes! You mean his fellow lodger, Mr. Natsume, being arrested on suspicion of murder. That's right, and as the defense has already proposed, Mr. Shakespeare was meddling with the gas in the pipe for a very sinister reason himself, to cause the gas stove in Mr. Natsume's room to go out, thereby asphyxiating the occupant. Once Mr. Natsume had been arrested, his room was under constant surveillance by the police. In the circumstances, Mr. Shakespeare had no reason to blow air into the gas pipe. His intended victim being in a prison cell, with the need to tamper the gas removed. The poison on the pipe lay dormant. And then, 3 days ago now, the situation changed again. Right. Mr. Natsume's trial, which took place here at the Old Bailey, came to an end.
A trial in which the man stood accused of stabbing Miss Green in the back, but was duly acquitted.
Resulted in Mr. Natsume returning to his lodgings for the first time in 2 days. That very night, his gas stove mysteriously went out, and Mr. Shamster was mysteriously poisoned. In conclusion, the poison that was present on the mouth of the gas pipe had been put there in the victim's room some 4 days earlier. It's a good thing it didn't... Oh, is that why it didn't kill him? Was because it was evaporated and diluted by then. Mary! Okay. A joke to the end of comedies in Shakespeare? Okay. With that new understanding, it becomes clear that this letter was all part of the plan.
What plan?
The court will recall that the note gave instructions to visit the Slug and Salad at 5 o'clock, and the recipient should tell nobody else. The reason for those instructions are now clear. To ensure that the lodger would not be at home at the stated time. Oh! Yeah. To make sure I wasn't home? Exactly. While you were out, Miss Green could safely slip into your room, knowing that she wouldn't be disturbed. You mean to say that letter was written by Miss Green? Yes. In order to cover her tracks, she took it away with her when she left. Just after she smeared poison on the mouth of the gas pipe in your room.
Order! What do you have to say for yourself, witness?
Just who are you? Why did you try to kill me? Miss Green's motive should be obvious. It's all tied up with someone whose name we've heard several times during the course of this trial. So, that's what's behind all this.
You will share your apparent understanding with the court, please, counsel. Which person is behind this woman's motive for the attack on the victim's life?
Mr. Duncan Ross.
Duncan Ross.
That's right. Before the defendant, Mr. Natsume, took up residence in the lodgings at Mr. Garadeb's, somebody else was renting the room. Mr. Duncan Ross. I knew I'd heard the name somewhere else. It was all over the papers a month ago, when the man died in strange circumstances at the haunted lodgings.
That does ring a vague... Oh, of course, I remember now. The young man they claimed was strangled by the convict's curse or some such.
Sadly, my lord, it wasn't a curse of any kind, nor was it an accident. The man died as a result of Mr. Shamspeare blowing into the gas pipe and causing the gas to leak into the room. It was murder, plain and simple. How do I laugh with...
Well, well, what do you know? The world is so unfair. Curses, curious deaths. That's all people care about. If it's an interesting story they want to know, it doesn't cross their minds that real people are involved. And once they're bored, just 1 month later, once the story's lost its appeal, everyone's forgotten him.
You mean you... Duncan was... Mr. Ross was Miss Green's fiancé. Fiancé? You may not have known until now who Miss Green really is, Mr. Shamspeare. But she's known exactly who you are, all along. Because you're her sworn enemy. The murderer who took the life of the man she was to marry. Mary! Miss Green, is it not the case that in order to exact revenge on Mr. Shamspeare, you smeared poison over the end of the gas pipe? she's so small.
This is all quite extraordinary. Am I correct in understanding that you now accuse both parties, counsel? Each on different counts of murder?
Well, attempted, but... Yes, my lord, that's correct.
Objection!
Inhaling so deeply, it appears that my fledgling learned friend has taken in a lungful of dubious gas that's causing his judgment to be clouded. What? Why would Mr. Shamspeare have wanted to kill these lodgers, as you say? You have completely failed to provide a motive to substantiate your accusation against the man. We know the answer. Yes, that's right, Mr. Reaper, my liege. I have been slighted. 'Tis lies, all lies. I deny every utterance.
You'll have to forgive me, Mr. Naruhodo, sir. But I don't intend to admit to anything either.
Miss Green?
I'm sure you'll have to think I'm being very rude, but I'm not going to be sent to the gallows for the likes of this scoundrel!
Objection!
But you broke into the man's room. You didn't do it to smear poison on the pipe. What was your reason?
I thought I'd have a look around, that's all.
Yeah, I don't think you do that in court and just be like, why did you break into that place? I just want to see what's in there. Yeah, it won't work. Sorry?
You're right, I suspected him, so I thought perhaps I might find some evidence or something in his room. Evidence that it was him who took Duncan's life.
Oh vileness, oh villainy, oh tyranny, oh rotundity of woman. But in any case, whene'er I leave my room, I do turn the key in the lock. Oh my god, is that why she has... That's why she has the key around her neck?
The whole place is falling apart. The locks and the doors are no different. Duncan showed me once how to unlock the door with some terps and a piece of wire.
The frick is a terp? A turnip? Oh awfulness, oh artfulness, oh tyranny, oh profanity of woman. You will consider your trespassing on some future occasion, but for now, tell the court what you found, what evidence your search revealed.
Well, I spotted the note I'd sent him lying on the floor. When I went to pick it up, I noticed something. One of the floorboards was loose, and underneath it, I discovered a secret hiding place.
Yes, we also discovered that hiding place. Inside, we found a newspaper cutting, a photograph, and an empty tin box.
Oh, yes. Well, the thing is, when I found it, the box wasn't empty.
What? There was something in it?
Yes. This rather nice key.
That's the key to the treasure. I'm not doing that. Oh my goodness. Okay. What are you doing with that? What the? Every ounce of color has drained from his face. Give it here. Give it to me now. It's mine. I inherited it. What was that, witness? What did you say? You inherited it? No, What's this all about? He inherited that key?
It was obviously important to you since you've gone to such lengths to hide it, so I took it. I don't know what it's for, but you took something precious from me, so I took something precious from you. So what if it means you can't open something now? I don't care.
Give it back this minute. Give it to me.
Calm yourself, witness.
So Mr. Shamspeare's tried, and in one case succeeded to take the life of 2 lodgers now. Yes, his motive for doing so is the key to everything that's happened. It's true that there appears to be no motive to support the accusation against Mr. Shamspeare at first. But consider everything that we know now. I think there's actually something that could explain it. What? This is it. I need to recall every piece of evidence at our disposal. Everything we've seen and heard. So I'm sure that I just caught a glimpse of the link that runs through all these events.
In that case, counsel, I demand that you present evidence to the court in support of your claim. What is it that you could say, you say can explain the motive?
It would be... they got rid of the newspaper clipping? They did. Right? The newspaper clipping is gone. Loot remains unrecovered. It's this one right here.
Take that!
Yeah.
That's beneficial police report, is it not?
Selden file? How did you get hold of that? Selden? The now sadly deceased Mr. Ross and the defendant, Mr. Natsume, have only one thing linking them. The fact that they had lodgings in the same room.
Well, yes, we know this, certainly.
A room that was formerly occupied by Selden. Until that is, he was arrested by Scotland Yard for his involvement in multiple burglaries.
I see.
It so happens that the convict Selden left behind one very substantial mystery when he died. Some 1,000 pounds of loot that he stole, which as yet remains to be found.
Yes, of course. Coming back to me now. So we did the file here.
1,000 pounds lost en route to hell. That was how the papers summed it up. It seems that one particular fellow inmate was with this convict in his final moments. Not hard to imagine Selden entrusting that inmate with his most closely guarded secret, the location of the stolen loot, perhaps a key to unlock whatever container the valuables were in. Okay, so I was trying to figure out where we get to his relation to Selden. I thought he'd just be in like the same gang, but this makes sense to be a fellow inmate. Oh, that's a thuggish pose. Man, looks like he's about to beat you over the head with that. Also, have you been mewing, buddy?
Woo! You mean this key is...
Mr. Shamspear, was you, wasn't it? You were at the capital offender's side when he died, were you not? What are you talking about? Tis a false charge, I tell you. A false charge. The name of the inmate who was with Selden at his death isn't noted in this file, but a simple telegram to the prison where he died will quickly tell us how false the charge really is.
But even if it's true, I don't think Shakespeare's his actual name, is it? Why would the man be so intent on killing every subsequent occupant of the convict's lodgings?
There's only one explanation for that, my lord. It was in that very room that Selden hid his loot. So, it all comes out. Yes, and having established that, all of Mr. Shamspeare's subsequent actions start to make perfect sense. When he was let out of prison following Selden's death, he made immediately for Mr. Gairdep's lodgings in hopes of renting Selden's old room. However, the retired army man was able to offer him the accommodation of his choice. But Selden's old room had already been let to someone else, Mr. Duncan Ross.
Woo!
Which is why Mr. Shamspeare subsequently devised his gas-based plot to kill the occupant of the room. And when he was successful, he presumably intended to inquire about switching into the newly vacant room. However, a certain jittery someone had beaten him to it.
Mr. Sasaki Natsume, the defendant of this case, no less.
So you decided to use the ploy with the gas again, didn't you, Mr. Shamspeare? This time to oust Mr. Natsume. All for one simple and avaricious reason: to get your hands on the 1,000 pounds of loot left behind by the dead convict. There he goes. The hat gonna come off? Is he gonna reveal his true hair? Looks like I'm gonna snuff it. Well, looks like I'm gonna snuff it before they get me to stretch me neck. Listen, I want you to have me loot. Anything.
to stop the coppers from getting their mitts on it. It's hidden in the room I was lodging when they got me. Here's the key to it. Take it. Always stay one step ahead, mate. C and L, I guess.
Shamspear. Oh, that's his real name. Okay. I thought it'd be a fake name. Bro literally is like this, okay. It's mine. Huh? What did he just say? It's mine. That loot is mine. Oh. Oh, frick. Mr. Shamspear. It's all lies. I don't accept any of it. Why should I? After all, you don't have a shred of evidence. You can't prove I killed that fellow. Forsooth, I'm the victim here, remember? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? If I don't admit to it, there's nothing you can do. You can't arrest me for the time being, anyway. Verily, you can't arrest the victim, can you? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so close. I just need a few more hours. I swore to myself that I'd get my hands on it, and I can almost taste it now. Do you really think I'd just give up? There's no question in my mind now, this man is guilty through and through. But he's so utterly intoxicated by the idea of that loot. I'm afraid that however hard you press him, he'll never admit to what he's done, Mr. Naruhodo. There is a way. Pardon? There's one way I can finish him. No. He's already committed the most heinous crimes to get his hands on the loot, which means all we need to do is find it first. A fine plan. Were it not for the fact the police thoroughly searched the room following the death of Mr. Ross. If it's there at all, it must be very well hidden indeed.
Without conclusive evidence, I certainly cannot rule.
If only there was some way we could find the convict's loot quickly. If only there was a certain someone who could help us out here. It's the final piece of this complex puzzle. I think we might have it in our possession already. Are you for real? So we haven't used this, right? No. No. Unless it's like... Is it in his box here? No. No, it can't be. Huh. Huh. I have no clue. Let's see. Or rather, I think we may well have something that can help us find where the loot is hidden. Oh? Handprint analyzer, maybe? My lord?
Yes, counsel?
The defense would like to make a proposal about how to find the late convict's hidden loot. I believe we already are in possession of something that can give us a clue as to its whereabouts. It's our last chance, so it has to be worth a gamble. Besides, we've used the same technique once already, and it definitely paid off then.
Very well then, counsel. Let the court hear your idea. What do you propose we could use in order to locate the hiding place of the deceased convict's heart?
It's gonna be the handprints. Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, those are Mr. Shamspear's handprints on the walls of his lodgings.
That's right, my lord. Exposed as a result of the defense's independent investigation of the scene. Based on a wonderful new discovery in the field of forensic science by the great detective Mr. Sholmes. A great detective? Is that some kind of joke? Do you really think I'm going to be daunted by a man with such a ridiculous title? I should think the great bard ought to recognize a title when he hears one. Mr. Shamspear. Perhaps we should compete for the honor of the most ridiculous title, Oh! 'Tis Sherlock Holmes himself! What are you doing here, great detective? Your usual haunts are the filthy back streets of the capital, are they not? Ah, Mr. Reaper, it's been too long. I see your complexion has worsened since last we met. Mr. Sholmes? He does know Lord Van Zeeks, then. Well enough to say something like that, in any case.
Mr. Sholmes, though you may be heralded as a great detective by the population at large, that does not give you the right to come and go in my courtroom as you see fit.
If I may, my lord, Mr. Sholmes' newly developed scientific method has helped us uncover vital clues in the case already.
Clues, you say?
I call them skin prints, my lord. My method identifies every location touched by an individual under scrutiny. It's the method by which we're able to ascertain this gentleman's gas pipe activities. That is the biggest euphemism ever? Wow. Need only a small sample of something the individual has previously touched to make an indicator solution. In your case, sir, I used the teacup you had been holding. Elementary. So now, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? What I am about to use as a sample... What am I to use as a sample to make the indicator solution this time? It's going to be a scepter. Thank you for offering to help, Mr. Sholmes. When the convict was arrested, he was living in what is now... Oh wait, the convict? Is that what we're trying to get? He's living in what is now Sasaki-san's room. We need a sample to help locate Selden's loop that was hidden in his old room. We need a piece of evidence that's something he touched in the old room. Is it this thing? People. Is it Mr. Garadeb? Wait. We need a sample to locate Selden's loop that's hidden in his old room. Something Selden touched, huh? Or someone Selden touched? Frickin', I actually don't know what we're doing here. Let's, I have a couple guesses. My brain's going to Mr. Garadeb at first. We will need something of Selden's in order to create the indicator solution to find his loot. And something the convict owned happens to be in the possession of someone listed in the court record. The key! Upon my word, Miss Naruhodo, your powers of reasoning appear to be on the up. So, which particular person do you have in mind? From whom can we obtain a possession of the late convict Selden to create the indicator solution?
Take that!
Miss Green.
Ooh, me, what do you want?
The key around your neck, if you please.
Sorry?
That key belonged to Selden. There will be remnants of secretions from the man's skin on its surface that we can use. Very true. That is the sample we need. Using it, we can create an indicator solution required for Mr. Sholmes' skin print seeker and find out exactly what Selden touched in the room he used to rent. Ah! Mr. Shamspear, it's one great to another, I assure you. If the late convict's haul is hidden somewhere in his former lodgings, I shall uncover it in no more than 30 minutes. So, Mr. Shamspear, the truth is well within our grasp now, and as such, you will never get your hands on Selden's stolen wealth.
In that case, I'll gladly let Mr. Sholmes have this key.
No, give the key to me. The detective shan't have it. It's over, Mr. Shamspear. No! No! You're out of options now. There's only one thing left for you to do. Admit your guilt. Whoa. Oh, shameful spear! Despair! Be thy name! Did he just pop into confetti several times? It seems like it. Okay. Well, that is your hair. I never intended to kill the man. I wanted to drive him out of the room. That's all. You'd have time to find the convict's haul of stolen goods. Yet after you killed the young man, you still didn't move into the room. I asked the landlord, of course. I pleaded with him, but he refused. Why? I was 3 months behind with the rent, for one thing. Mr. Gerdub really has a lot to put up with. And he had the gas repair work done immediately afterwards, putting the room out of action for a while. And then this Japanese man swooped in at just the right moment to sign the new lease. Poor Mr. Natsume. What unfortunate timing. Then, 5 days ago, after the incident on Briar Road when the Japanese fellow got himself arrested, I thought I'd finally have my chance, but it wasn't to be. No, the scene was sealed off and guarded by police night and day. And if I remember rightly, Mr. Shom spent the whole day in there reading books. I couldn't even enter the room, let alone search for the loot. Which is why on the day Mr. Natsume was acquitted and returned to his room, you once again tried your trick of blowing air into the gas pipe that feeds the stove in his room. Unbeknownst to you, however, that action would lead you into a deadly trap.
William Shamspear? How does it go? To be or not to be, that is the question.
From Shakespeare's Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1. Of course you'd know that.
Well, let me tell you, in your case, it's not to be. That is the answer. You deserve to die for what you've done.
No comeback? You're just gonna moan? Okay. Well, you tried your best, buddy.
At first, I really did think it was just a terrible accident. I'll never forget our conversation the night before Duncan died.
The gas supply and my new lodgings are a complete disaster, you know, Olive.
The gas supply?
Yes, the stove always seems to go out in the middle of the night for some reason.
That's no joke.
They say it's the convict's curse.
Oh, Duncan, please, don't stay there. I don't care how cheap it is.
Alright then, if it's that important to you, I'll start looking for a new place. There are spare rooms at
my house. Why don't you leave that horrible room tonight?
No, I'd better not. We said we'd wait until we graduated before we told our parents, remember?
But that was the last time we ever spoke. That very night he fell victim to the gas. If only I'd known it was going to happen, I'd have insisted that he left that horrible room that instant. But instead, all I've been left with is bitter regret. I stopped going to school, but something kept drawing me back to the house on Briar Road. I saw a stooped, Eastern-looking man with a mustache coming out of the house one day when I was there. He walked up the road to Grubb's Grubbery for some food, so I followed him and sat myself down next to him. He had some watery-looking soup and started to pick a quarrel with the publican.
The place is cursed, I tell you, cursed! The ghost of that convict who used to live there is trying to suffocate me!
I wake up in the middle of the night, freezing to death because the stove has gone out. The room is full of gas and I can hardly breathe. But the pipes have been checked. No problem there. It's like I'm the problem. That's what they're thinking. But how could that be? Duncan was gone and now this man had almost suffered the same fate. Could it really be a curse? Then I remembered a rumor I'd heard about how the gas companies go around investigating the gas installations.
A rumor? Oh, you mean...
Yes, I like how the jury has just been sitting silently this entire time. They're like, yo, shit, I want to watch this.
Everybody's heard the stories, it seems, about how they go around checking the pipes.
Now, anything connected to the gas can be extinguished by blowing air into the pipework.
That's when it started. A little flicker of doubt in the back of my mind that just wouldn't go away. Was it really an accident, though? Once I'd had the idea, it wouldn't leave me alone. It plagued me day and night. So I bought this at one of the black markets on the East End.
Sorry, hey, maybe you should tell that place to the court. I feel like getting that place shut down is probably a good idea. You should give the full information. Maybe you can get free if you just tell them the truth there, you know? Black market?
I'd never been, I just heard people talk about them. And you really can buy anything you like you can think of there. Even chow eggs. In some ways, being able to get my hands on this easily made me even more determined. I had to find out one way or another. Was Duncan's death an accident, or was it murder?
And your chosen method for establishing the truth was simple, but highly effective. Smear poison on the gas pipe you suspected the man of tampering with, and wait. Mr. Shamspeare was innocent. Nothing would come of what you've done. But if he was guilty, he would pay for his crimes dearly.
I found out the name of the man I suspected. William Shamspeare. Then I wrote him this little note. I have information regarding the death of Duncan Ross. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 p.m. on the 17th. Don't tell anybody about this letter or the meeting. It is a matter of utmost importance. If he'd done it, I knew that it would worry him enough to make sure he'd go. So I waited to see if it worked.
And of course, Mr. Shamspeare followed the instructions to the letter.
I worked out where the gas pipe was straight away. So I smeared a good amount of the poison I brought all around the mouth of the pipe.
Did you have to stack more boxes or more chairs or something?
All the time praying that the devil's work wouldn't be done, and that it was all just some wild fantasy. Actually, no. All the time praying that the devil's work would be done, and that the culprit would get his just desserts.
Yeah, so I feel like if you didn't do that last one, you could have got off with something, but no, you just admitted to like full intent, so you're kind of done now, huh? You're done. Jury is just, again, sitting in silence this whole time.
3 days ago, when you first stood in the dock before me, this whole affair seemed relatively straightforward.
Yes, my lord.
I certainly never imagined the depths of depravity that we would subsequently find lurking behind the scenes.
It has been a long road, my Deepening's friend. Oh, yes. Hi, I'm here. One I certainly didn't envisage walking with you. See, again, we're kind of working together for justice on this one.
Nevertheless, together we have reached the light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. Miss Green,
Yes, my lord?
you will henceforth be stripped of your freedom as punishment for the attempted murder of Mr. William Shakespeare.
Yes, I know.
And you, Mr. Shakespeare, you will be tried for the murder of Mr. Duncan Ross in cold blood and the subsequent attempted murder of Mr. Saseki Natsume here present.
Mr. Naruhodo?
Yeah, hi.
Yesterday, at the hospital, when you and your friends stopped me from doing, unaliving myself in Minecraft.
From ending your life by drinking what was left in the poison bottle.
Yeah, by walking into the storm in Fortnite. I wasn't myself. I can't even really remember what was going through my mind. To be or not to be, I suppose. That's a question that's so hard to answer, it seems.
Maybe just read the rest of the soliloquy and you get the answer right there. Well, personally, I'm glad of your being here, Miss Green.
Woo!
And I'd like to believe that it's a blessing Mr. Shakespeare didn't die when he ingested the poison. For your sake, at the very least. Because both of you will now be in jail creating trinkets that go into the shops and fund the English economy. How lovely. Oh, she's finally smiling. Oh, it's really cute, actually.
Because of you, I chose life, not death. And now you've made the truth come out at last. Really, I can't thank you enough.
Aw, Miss Green.
Mr. Saseki Natsume.
Oh, right, it's about him. Right.
Yes, my lord. The court declares that you are exonerated from all blame in this matter. Accordingly, I would call upon the ladies and gentlemen of the jury to present a verdict of not guilty.
We're in full agreement, my lord.
In that case, I hereby declare the defendant.
We do it! Not guilty. And then Shakespeare's like, Nay, verily, will doth defend me. And we're like, no.
Court is adjourned.
Yeah, we're not defending you, buddy. Yeah, I think from what I hear from like the manga and stuff, both Phoenix Wright and I'd assume Rinosuke Naruhodo, oh well, especially Rinosuke because there's such a short period of time, but at least Phoenix Wright, they look at the case and like if the person they go, yeah, we don't believe the client, they just don't take the case.
Oh, yes, at last. Divine justice duly done!
Divine justice? My dear fellow, if there were any divine justice in this world, you would shave that mustache.
No, this has nothing to do with my mustache!
Some say that a luxuriant mustache is a sign of physical prowess, Mr. Sholmes.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Once again, you've saved me from doom!
I'm very happy to have been here to help, Mr. Natsume. Congratulations on your acquittal. You're second in almost as many days.
I was first acquainted with and gained affection for English literature while in our great homeland empire. And then, by a twist of fate, I was brought to the land that bore the fruit of that literature. Only, the city of bricks and mortar became my prison. Try as I might, I never found my feet here. In the end, I confined myself to my room and lived life through friendly old books.
You've had such a difficult time, haven't you? But a week ago now, I dragged you out of that dark and dingy room of yours, did I not?
You did, and I've seen more of life in this week than
in all my years to date, and for the first time, I feel I've begun to see the true face of the English that so far been hiding from me behind that wall of fog.
My dear fellow, there's nothing special about the true face of the English, as you put it. Wheresoever one goes in the world, humans are human. There are few genuine differences.
Yes, I think you're right. I finally started to see that, and I've come to understand something. I've worked out why I was attracted to English literature in the first place. It made me see that whatever our nationality, we humans all have the same hopes and fears. We're all just doing our best to live.
Well said. I've come to feel the same way.
Shame about the racism. I've made a decision, too. I'm going to cut short my study tour here
And return to Japan. It's not a surprise. We knew this was coming. What? We knew this was coming. Just when we become friends here in England. What a terrible shame.
Oh, I know. That does tug at my heartstrings. It really does. But I've decided I'd like to take everything I've learned here in Britain and write something of my own. A novel of sorts, I suppose.
Oh my, so you'll be creating your own literature, Mr. Natsume. How wonderful.
Oh, well, no. I mean, I wouldn't presume to call it literature.
Why not, when that is precisely the definition, Mr. Mustache?
I suppose you're right, yes. It will, in a way, be literature. But as of now, all I know is that I'd like to try my hand at writing. I have no delusions of grandeur.
I, for one, would love to read your work. Well, all things considered, it may be for the best. After all, you have once again emerged victorious from a battle with the Reaper. That's very true. Maybe they cancel each other out. There's no salvation for a person in the dock, when the Reaper is the prosecutor. The desire to return post-haste to the perceived safety of your homeland is one I quite understand. My goodness, yes, faced with such a terrifying prospect. Nobody would consider that cowardly, I'm quite sure. He's gonna get a ticket right now. He's gonna leave right now.
But that's not why I'm leaving. I mean it.
Oh, my man hit his own objection. And that was the case we found ourselves embroiled in 6 months ago now. Saseki-san did indeed return to Japan and submitted a report about both cases to the government. It was on reading that report that Professor Mikotoba was prompted to visit the scholar. And barely any time later, Sasato-san was given the news that she must return to Japan as well, on the back of a telegram stating falsely that her father had fallen gravely ill. I wonder if they were originally going to do him going sick and then realized that's kind of a downer, so then they just swerved with the second game. The only possible explanation that comes to mind is what happened after the trial on the following day, the day that we uncovered the loot hidden by the now-deceased convict in his former lodgings. Is that going to be the to be continued? Or are we just doing that now? Oh, we're just doing that now. What is it going to be? Oh, well done, Mr. Sholmes. How simply marvelous of you to uncover the secret hiding place in just one day. Wasn't it supposed to take 30 minutes? As I believe I told you, my dear fellows, skin prints are extremely useful in such situations. Wouldn't you agree, Gregson? He hates that he's getting shown up at his own job. Gregsy's here been happily munching in agreement this whole time, you know, Hurley. Happily, I think perhaps humorlessly might be closer to the truth. So, it transpires the man fashioned a hiding place in the ceiling. And what's in it? What exactly is the loot? I swear if it's tea. Let us look then, if you're ready. Let's examine the late burglar's haul. Is it tea? Cats? What's it gonna be? What is that? Oh, shoot. Wait. Is that the belt of Deltora? You know what that is. You're based as hell. It looks like it might be some sort of neckband or collar. B? A collar. It's huge, though.
And look at all the gemstones set in it. I can see why it was claimed to be worth 1,000 pounds. Perhaps I could use it as a belt. Oh, have you noticed on the inside there are some dark stains?
That's blood, baby. You don't think it could be blood, do you? I mean, there's quite a lot of it.
On second thoughts, perhaps I won't have it as a belt. And of course, there's this emblem here. A large letter B and a small crown.
B. B, B, B. B. What does it signify, do you think?
Oh, I hadn't noticed that. Feel as though I've seen that emblem somewhere before, you know. Where could it have been?
It's not jumping out to me immediately. That's enough of that, I think. What? What's the matter with Sholmes? All the color has drained from his face. Well, Inspector, I believe you ought to be taking this, ought you? It'd be valuable evidence, after all. It must be kept safely under lock and key. Yes. Get you grab your hands off that, you lot, and hand it over now. Big mystery. I'd never seen a collar that large before. All those jewels certainly look to be extremely valuable. That's not what stood out the most to me. At least not once I'd noticed it. Those dark marks on the inside of the collar. Those stains. Could they really have been blood? But whose?
Well, that was a funny case, wasn't it? But it's all buttoned up now.
And you look very pleased, Iris.
I am, because I'm starting to wonder what I could use as the basis for this month's story in the magazine. But this case will be perfect. It's been so fascinating.
Talking about the latest installment of the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, I presume?
The mystery of the knife in the mist and the mustached man and the convict's curse, perhaps? I could make it a 2-part story. Oh, I can't wait.
A word, please, Iris.
Yes, what is it, Hurley?
I'm sorry, but you can't write about this case. It's out of the question.
What? Why not? It's a great case.
I shall have to insist that you limit yourself to the first of your 2 titles. The second must never be written. Is that clear?
Yes.
What's going on?
And so it was that the second of Soseki-san's cases became buried in obscurity. Now, looking back, I feel I understand. I can see why Mr. Sholmes forbade Iris from publishing the story. It would take a little longer before I saw the link between everything that had happened and would happen. For it wasn't until 2 months after the arrival of Susato-san's letter that events began to unfurl again, with an incident that took place at the very heart of the eagerly awaited Great Exhibition of London.
I knew we'd go there eventually. I knew that we'd be doing that. Oh man. Oh man. Also voiced lines. Again, there's no anime, so I guess that's where they put them instead, would be in like scenes like this. Nice. All right. It's exciting. It's exciting. We're going to move on to the next chapter, which is the return of the great departed soul. Huh? Oh my god. Are we... Okay, this sounds like a character's coming back to life. One of these would make me kind of mad. One of these would be wild. I'm curious as to which it's going to be. Either a good or a bad, you know? We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Or it could just be the return of, because, you know, someone who departed. Susato. Maybe? I don't know. Probably not. It'd take too long for her to get back, I assume. But we'll see. Thank you all for watching, guys. We'll see you next time for some more Great Ace Attorney to resolve. Ciao. Yo.